Chapter 64. A Body of Contumacy, Jingjiang Preparatory Camp. Let's talk about that later. Ren Kaiyan was very surprised, pondering Ren Jiawei's phrase, born rebellious. Don't take your negotiating table attitude towards their family members. Ren Kaiyan wasn't too clear about that book, but seeing Ren Wongshuan and Chen Zhu's demeanor, he knew it was significant. Sir, the Secretary General, as Ren Kaiyan's confidant, was someone people were exceptionally cautious around on regular days. He glanced coldly at the courtyard behind him, but his voice was incongruously respectful as he indicated Ren Kaiyan undervalued himself. You've really lowered yourself for them, but once you're not present, that entire Jai family doesn't even pretend. The Secretary General was accustomed to giving orders. Over time, he had forgotten that he too had started from the ground up. He was deferential and cautious in front of Ren Kaiyan, but certainly not in front of others. Ren Kaiyan was taken aback. He pondered for a long while and naturally had no suspicion of his secretary. The Jai family is established in their ways, and Bai Lian is a bit youthful and impulsive. Can't you look at the bigger picture and avoid squabbling with them? In simpler terms, he felt the Jai family wasn't worth his temper. Ren Kaiyan said softly, let's put off inviting her to the Ren family for now. I understand, sir, the Secretary General said respectfully. He listened to the slightly displeased tone in Ren Kaiyan's voice and smiled faintly. The Ren family had long intended to invite Bai Lian to their household. Today, because of his single remark, the Ren family shelved the idea. He was Ren Kaiyan's right-hand man, skilled in flattery and deceit. Even Ren Wongshuan had to address him as uncle when she saw him. But nobody dared to show him disdain like Bai Lian did. After some thought, the Secretary General pulled out his cell phone and reported the news to Ren Wongshuan. At the Jai family. In the end, Ren Kaiyan's Secretary General didn't stay for dinner, leaving only the family, which was rather harmonious. Jai Heng placed the wool needle given by Bai Lian at his side, holding in one hand the smoking pipe given by Jai Sheijun, and beside him, the tobacco provided by Jai Shiorong. Shen Qing and Bai Lian helped bring the dishes to the table. Jai Sheijun, with a stack of bowls, served rice to everyone from the pot, watching through the window as Jai Heng examined the wool needle closely. How did you know today was your grandfather's birthday? He whispered to Bai Lian as she came from the kitchen with dishes. Bai Lian, her head lowered as she carefully carried a pot of soup, her entire being appearing cool in her snow-green dress, smiled. Isn't that the reason you secretly bought the smoking pipe? Pure alarmist talk. Jai Sheijun immediately turned away, unwilling to confront the issue. When have I ever secretly bought anything? Bai Lian raised an eyebrow, holding the soup as she left the kitchen. Shen Qing came in just in time to see her, delicate snow-colored fingers holding the freshly stewed clay pot. She hurriedly spoke up, "Why don't you use a cloth as a mat? Give it to me here." She took the clay pot from Bai Lian's hands. "You go set the chopsticks." Clearly, a person raised in a wealthy home, unfamiliar with common-sense living. Bai Lian touched her nose. She hadn't felt the heat, but obviously Shen Qing didn't believe her. She silently went to set the chopsticks. At the dining table, Jai Heng sat beside her. Jai Shiorong and Jai Sheijun were looking at the wool needle Bai Lian had made for him. Embroidery was falling out of step with the times, so much so that wool needles were nearly obsolete. With few people using them, there were no shops that could sharpen them in all of Xiangcheng. It was unclear where Bai Lian found someone to make them. The bag containing the wool needle was even faintly marked with the symbol of a white tiger, yet none of those present paid attention to this emblem. If someone from the Ren family had been there, they would have recognized it immediately. It was unmistakably the White Tiger Auction House's symbol. The meal was more peaceful without the Ren family members. After dinner, Shen Qing and Jai Shaojun cleared the dishes. So, did Alien really leave the Bai family? In the kitchen, Shen Qing took the opportunity without anyone else around to ask Jai Shaojun in a low voice. Yes, Jai Shaojun said while he wiped the dishes dry, not lifting his head. Her household registration has been transferred over. Hey, I say to you Jai family people, Shen Qing couldn't contain her irritation. What's wrong with you? Such a big family, even if they don't like you, wouldn't it be better not to leave? Drinking the soup is also good. Do you think she's being silly? She stopped mid-sentence upon seeing Jai hang through the window. Shen Qing snatched the bowl from Jai Shaojun's hands. Get out, I don't want to see you right now. In the afternoon, Jai Heng and the others were going to Purist Street to worship the tree god. Bai Lian was going to Jianghe's place, so she grabbed her backpack, ready to head straight there by car after worshiping the tree god. Shen Qing walked behind her, and seeing the three men ahead were not paying attention, she finally lowered her voice. Why didn't you agree to what Ren Kaiyan said at noon? It would be good for you too. Now that you've come to Xiangcheng, won't you have to get by here from now on? Bai Lian held the headphones for vocabulary study and turned down the volume when Shen Qing asked a question. Oh, I have a good handle on that. Bai Lian's rosy lips twitched slightly as she reached out and plucked a leaf from Shen Qing's hair, her dark eyes full of nonchalance. Shen Qing tilted her head, looking at Bai Lian's half-lowered long lashes, her almond-shaped eyes slightly narrowed. She was at a loss for words. Bai Lian now looked much more pleasant to the eye than she had a few years ago. Both families were wealthy, but the Bai family had far more depth than the Ren family. She had not expected Bai Lian to be so polite to her and the Jai family's people. The Ren family had always looked down on them with disdain. Shen Qing, who had grown up in the slums, was accustomed to being humble and lowering her stance in front of them because she'd seen these people change the trajectories of common folks' lives with just a word. Shen Qing said no more, but an eerie thought emerged at the bottom of her heart. If Jai Shaojun asked Bai Lian to move in now, she probably wouldn't refuse. The manor at the heart of Xiangcheng. Chief Chen was extremely restless as he sat downstairs, sipping tea he had poured for himself, cautiously using his peripheral vision to glance at Jiang Fulai standing by the lattice window. Jiang Fulai, at home, was only wearing a comfortable black loungewear. His jade-like hand was holding a black headset, his tone cold. So you didn't even bother to use your brains. Has Jiang Ziju's brain been invaded by you as well? Chief Chen prayed for the person on the other end of the phone, while wondering why he had chosen to come today. He'd heard through the grapevine that Jiang Fulai was in a good mood recently. Chief Chen held his teacup, attempting to ease his nerves. Jiang He had been crouched at the front door, and Chief Chen found himself wishing he could join him. As he pondered this, the sound of tires against the road came from outside. Upon looking up, he saw Ming Dingheng step in with a girl. With just one glance, Chief Chen recognized her, the same girl he had seen here before. As soon as Bai Lian entered, she spotted Jiang He crouching at the door. She reached out to grab the back of his neck, hoisting him up, her eyebrows lazily arched. "Little Wenmeng, what are you squatting here for?" Bai Lian didn't bother to keep her voice down, and her presence pierced through the empty, chilling silence of the grand hall. Chief Chen's eyes widened as he quickly looked at Bai Lian, gesturing for her to lower her voice while silently mourning for her. How could someone be so obliviously untactful in a time like this? Just as he thought this, he saw Jiang Fulai lower his voice. "Report to me later, Jiang Ziju." Then he ended the call. "You're early." Jiang Fulai put his phone into his pocket, his tone even. "Let's head to the lab first." He led Bai Lian and Jiang He out. In the hall, Chief Chen, still holding his teacup, looked as if he had seen a ghost. He glanced at Ming Dingheng before tentatively asking, "Mr. Ming, As for young Master Jiang, Ming Dingheng, no longer surprised, gave Chief Chen a cold reply of just 4 words. Don't ask too much. The humble Chief Chen didn't dare to say another word. All he thought was, he must have been quite polite to Miss Bai earlier, right? By the way, Chief Chen remembered the actual purpose of his visit. Is your master at the Backter Street fighting arena? Yeah, Ming Dingheng responded in a low voice. It's no use looking for me, my master won't see me. Young Master Jiang doesn't either. Ah, Chief Chen felt a headache coming on. But your master is the only 8th-degree martial arts grandmaster alive today. Ming Dingheng couldn't help. Next door, Jiang Fulai's laboratory. He didn't lift a finger, merely stood with his arms crossed, watching the two dismantle the cyclotron collider. Bai Lian dismantled the inside and observed for a while before finally understanding. So it uses the difference in friction of the outer ring to generate power. It should have a wide range of applications. The collision energy is strong. Right, Jiang Fulai nodded. The mushroom clouds we see in everyday life operate on the same principle. By the time the dew of different ages finished examining the vortex ring, it was almost dark. By the way, as they were leaving the laboratory, Jiang Fulai sent Bai Lian a link. Download this app. Here's an invite code. All the letters are in uppercase. Saying this, he recited a string of characters. He knew Bai Lian's memory. She wouldn't need him to repeat it a second time. Bai Lian and Jiang, he came to the hall. The servants brought tea and fruit. Bai Lian and Jiang, he sat to one side. Bai Lian picked up her teacup, took a light sniff, and her eyes brightened. Ming Dingheng was observing Bai Lian from his position. Seeing her smelling the tea, he was surprised too. He asked Su Nanjing. Old speckled tea was very expensive in the market. Only families like the Jiangs could splurge on such a luxury. Bai Lian, Miss Bai, who evidently lives on Purist Street, seemed very familiar with old speckled tea. After Bai Lian finished her tea, Jiang He beside her was twisting a Rubik's Cube. She remembered the link Jiang Fulai gave her, so she clicked on it and downloaded the app directly. Once the download was complete, she saw a blue app appear on her phone. Jiangjing University Preparatory Camp. She had heard this app's name countless times, both at the Bai family home and in the training classes in Xiancheng. The original owner even cheated for this app. Her fingertips tapped on her smartphone screen, and she couldn't help but look up at Jiang Fulai. He was sitting opposite her on the couch, his left hand casually draped over the armrest, talking to Director Chen, who hadn't left yet. When he noticed her looking, his shallow eyes lowered slightly as if asking, "What's wrong?" Without speaking, Bai Lian redirected her gaze. Her pale blue clothes pressed against her overly fair skin, making her eyes black and white, starkly distinct. Her fingertips slowly tapped open the app, and immediately a security key popped up. After entering the key given by Jiang Fulai, she moved to the registration page. Under Jiang He's gaze, she entered her account name with casual indifference. Bai Jian. Jiang He by her side silently turned around, quietly twisting the Rubik's Cube. After registering, she directly logged into the app. Upon entering, she could see 3 sections: rankings on the right and this month's question bank and timed challenges on the left. Bai Lian glanced at it. The rankings had 2 columns, this month's points ranking and overall ranking. She opened it to see the monthly scores of freshmen for the current year displayed from top to bottom. Bai Lian slowly scrolling through. No 1 Liang Wuyu, 28,896. No 2 Su Jiu, 28,152. No 39 Songmin, 21,589. No 464 Bai Shaoqi, 17,453. No 552 Bai Jian 0. The number of registrants this year totaled 552, with the differences in scores getting smaller towards the end. Those who could secure a spot in the preparatory camp were geniuses, demonstrating absolute talent. So they all used their real names, with barely anyone frivolously using an ID, as Bai Lian did. See that Liang Wuyu, the hot favorite to become next year's top scholar. I bet 1 million on him. I hope he doesn't disappoint me. Director Chen noticed the page on the app and said proudly. Suddenly, upon seeing Bai Lian at 552, he quickly added, "Miss Bai, go for it. As long as you enter the top 300 in the monthly ranking, you have a chance to get into Jiangjing University. I believe in you. When I get home tonight, I'll bet that you can make it into Jiangjing University." Bai Lian raised an eyebrow, and upon hearing total score, she subconsciously clicked next to the total score section and was metaphorically blinded by what she saw. Most people are typically described like this. For instance, No. 2. Jiang Ziju 15,789,258. No. 3. Ma Tengfeng 9,987,412. No. 18. He went 8,547,127. This was normal. Bai Lian glanced at the lower right corner, her own name. No. 12589. Bai Jian 0. She's supposed to be number 12,589, the lowest in any ranking. Her gaze then moved to the very top. No. 1L 99,990,999. Bai Lian. All of the mountains look small in comparison. Turning her attention to the difficult monthly ranking points, it was hard to believe that this number 1 was achieved by a human. She began to suspect if the system's upper limit was perhaps 99,990,999. This style. She shifted her gaze slightly. "What's up?" Jiang Fulai had asked Ming Dingheng to escort Director Chen upstairs to view the calligraphy and paintings, but he saw Bai Lian holding her phone, lost in thought, looking at him. He walked over, rested one hand on the back of the chair behind Bai Lian, and leaned slightly forward to peek at her phone, his expression reserved and cool. With just one glance, he could see the account she had just accessed. Account name, Bai Jian. Points this month, 0. Total points, 0. Following, 0. Followers, 0. Jiang Fulai stared at the name Bai Jian for a while, falling into silence. Yu Guang cast a cold glance towards Jiang He. Jiang He's head seemed to be fused with the Rubik's Cube. Depressed, he knocked his head against the Rubik's Cube. "You've registered, huh?" Jiang Fulai coldly withdrew his gaze from him, unhurriedly pulled out his phone, and re-downloaded the blue app he had previously uninstalled. "Yeah," Bai Lian generously showcased her ID. Then she remembered something else, opened WeChat and sent a message to Mao Kun. "For 1 pound sandbags." Bai in the white tank top responded rapidly, "Sure thing, sis." 10 o'clock at night. Bai Lian slipped out of the alley after the lights in Jai Heng's room went out, finding Mao Kun already waiting at the entrance of the alley, squatting and smoking. In the darkness, only the faint crimson glow of the cigarette end was visible. "Sis," Mao Kun immediately stood up when he saw Bai Lian. Bai Lian, with an earbud in, listening to vocabulary, nonchalantly bent down and picked up the cloth bag he had placed aside. 4 1-pound sandbags. She weighed them in her hand before casually tossing them to Mao Kun, instructing indifferently, "Tie them to your limbs." "Huh?" Mao Kun touched his head, then did as she said, tying a sandbag to each limb. He tried walking and found his feet heavy. His hands were also heavy, but Mao Kun was no stranger to exercise, and even with the sandbags, he could still move normally. With only 1 pound each, he walked like a blundering moth. Bai Lian had not seen anyone so fragile. She moved her gaze away without expression. "I'll teach you 2 moves today." Bai Lian, still unwashed and clad in her days-long dress, handed her phone to Malkun. She shifted her weight back, with her left leg slightly bent and right leg feigned. As she flicked her right fist upward and pulled her left fist to her waist, her right foot morphing into a bow stance, and her power rooted in her left hand before she swiftly launched her left fist. Bang! Her left hand, seemingly delicate with visible knuckles when clenched, threw the punch. Malkun, with his face barely 3 centimeters away from her fist, felt the wind scatter his yellow hair. He had no doubt that if her fist traveled 3 centimeters further, it could shatter his nasal bone. Bai Lian's hair, tousled by the gust, softly floated back across her forehead under the moonlight, and her face seemed softer than usual. She gracefully retrieved her hand, her pitch-black, clear eyes asking lazily, "Did you see clearly?" Malkun snapped back to reality. He saw, but not in full detail. After 10 minutes of learning the 2 moves, Malkun had barely memorized them. Training with sandbags can cause significant harm to the limbs. Bai Lian took back her phone and recited a medicinal formula. Codenopsis, atractylodes, deer antler angelica and cyperus each 65 grams, chuangsheng pubescent angelica eucamia. Grind them together, let it cool, then mix with the medicine to form a paste and spread it on the limbs. After speaking, she saw Malkun gazing at her with a clear yet foolish look. "Bai Lian, fine, I'll text it to you." Malkun with a near-tears expression, "Thank you, sis. Don't you all learn the long fist anymore? No palm techniques, no spear dancing." Bai Lian watched him perform the moves once more, and after a prolonged moment she averted her gaze, asking softly. As she slightly lifted her head, her eyes settled on the fairly round moon above. In the cold moonlight, her gaze was also deep, cold, and distant. Malkun had seen a similar expression on Bai Lian before, back at the auction, when he spotted her on Bachter Street. Yet the expression now was slightly different than then. "Everyone's learning combat moves," Malkun thought for a moment before speaking. "These days, many kids learn taekwondo. Few children learn the long fist or spear, and there used to be a martial arts school in Xiangcheng that closed down due to a lack of students." "I see," Bai Lian nodded. She withdrew her gaze, lowered her eyes, concealing the emotions at the bottom of her eyes. "Come see me at the same time next week." Then, replace the sandbag with a 2-pound iron ball. Malkun dragged his heavy steps back. When Bai Lian returned, it was already 11 o'clock. Unlike usual when she would have been solving practice questions, today she did not. Instead, she opened Kaiandu and searched for Taekwondo. There were many videos online. There were also lots of promotional ads for training centers, and she repeatedly watched videos of Taekwondo. Some from a certain country, quite showy with flashy moves but of little practical use. Is this what many people are learning now? Bai Lian looked up, gazing quietly out the window. A room, a person, a bright moon. A message suddenly popped up at the top of her phone. It was from the Jiangjing Preparatory Camp, app she had logged into earlier. Bai Lian clicked on it and saw that she had a new follower on her account. She was startled, thinking it was an official account at first, until she followed the follower back to their own account. Account name, L. Monthly points, 0. Total points, 99,999,999. Number of followings, 1. Number of followers, 12,587. Bai Lian. Indeed, she had guessed it was him, so she clicked to follow back. She smiled, then went back and closed Kaiandu. In this era of peace and prosperity with clear skies and calm rivers, she would no longer encounter bandits or pirates. There was no need to worry about safety, only to focus on studying. Learning these flourishes should suffice, and she should feel happy about that. Xiancheng, no one middle school marked test papers quite quickly. By Monday, basically all the scores were out. The first class in the morning was with Lu Lingxi, and for a change, Zhang Shais and his group had not arrived late today. As soon as Lu Lingxi entered the classroom, she handed the pile of test papers to the class representative to distribute. This time, the Chinese language test was standard. Class 15 always had good scores in Chinese. Out of 150 points, the average score reached 106. 14 points ahead of the second-place Class 8. After class, Lu Lingxi took the test papers, her gaze shifting to Bai Lian's seat. The girl, dressed in the blue and white school uniform, pulled out her practice question bank as soon as class ended. Her long lashes cast a shadow, and the sunlight from outside the window fell on her brows and eyes, gentle and elegant as she sat holding a pen, quietly sweeping through questions. Lu Lingxi watched her for a good while before finally speaking. "Bai Lian, come out with me for a moment." Bai Lian looked up in slight surprise. She put down her pen and followed Lu Lingxi to the corridor. "Bai Lian," Lu Lingxi looked at Bai Lian, "can you tell me what you were thinking with your essay?" Bai Lian raised her head slightly, pondered briefly, then admitted her fault. "Teacher, I'm sorry." Her eyelashes fluttered down, apologetically. Lu Lingxi was momentarily lost for words. Her voice softened. "It's okay, just be more careful next time, especially during the college entrance exams." "I understand, teacher," Bai Lian nodded. Lu Lingxi smiled and patted her head. Being slightly tall, she bowed her head a little to let Lu Lingxi pat it easily. "Go back." After Bai Lian returned, Zhang Shais and others crowded around her. They all wore puzzled expressions on their faces. "What did Lu Ma want with you?" "She talked to me about my essay." Bai Lian sat back lazily, one leg casually bent, and flipped her notebook open again. "Your essay?" Zhang Shais was surprised. "Your essay was off topic." "No way." The essay this time was simple. As he spoke, he grabbed Bai Lian's casually placed Chinese answer card from the table. "Exactly 90 points." This time the Chinese test was easy. Even Zhang Shais got 109 points. "How come you only got 90? Zhang Shais didn't believe it, examining her answer card ahead. There were no mistakes, so how could it be 90? It didn't fit her profile at all. Pu Ziohan also leaned in to look, nodding furiously. What happened? Were some points not added? Yang Lin listened intently as well, until Zhang Shais turned the page. The essay topic this time was very simple, a set subject essay. Giving up is also a form of beauty. The topic was simple, and under normal circumstances, no one would stray off topic. Out of 60 points for the essay, even Zhang Shais scored a high 40. However, student Bai Lian had written just one line. "I will not give up, even if it means facing a mountain of knives or a sea of fire. I would calmly embrace death. My epitaph will not contain a single word of regret." The handwriting was as neat as ever, stroke by stroke, as if it had been copied from a book, orderly and pleasing to the eye. Yet from this precise handwriting, Pu Ziohan and others saw the defiance contained within it. Every stroke and splash of ink was like a backbone. Next to it was a prominently corrected 0. Even the underachieving Zhang Shais had never seen anyone dare to write such an essay during a monthly exam. "Classmate, isn't writing your essay like this a bit too arrogant?" Zhang Shais looked at the desk in front of him, where she was carelessly crunching the numbers with her head down. He suddenly felt again that she could pull it off. Pu Ziohan touched her nose and borrowed Bai Lian's paper to study characters. The last class of the morning was physics. During the break, the comprehensive science exam papers were handed out. Zhang Shais glanced at the 110 points on the desk in front and then at his own 186, feeling surprised and then starting to show off again. He whispered to the desk behind him, "This time the physics teacher won't be able to attack me anymore." The physics teacher rolled the exam papers into a tube with one hand and held a thermos in the other, sauntering in at a leisurely pace. While asking someone to wipe the blackboard clean, he unscrewed the thermos and said coldly, "This physics exam saw a wide gap in scores, with someone getting a full score of 110 and another getting only 39. Zhang Shai's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it as he poked Bai Lian's shoulder. "Damn, someone got a full score of 110 in physics. It must be me." He didn't finish his sentence when the physics teacher glanced coldly at him. "I'm talking about you, Zhang Shais. Both your desk mate and the one in front have scores of 110. Yang Lin also scored 97. The class average in physics is 70. And your grade's lowest score of 37. Are you challenging my career? You even disturbed the one in front of you." The teacher threw a chalk at him. "Sit properly." Zhang Shais. He incredulously turned to Bai Lian. "Isn't it? Your total score is just 110. How come physics is also 110? What about your chemistry and biology?" This is more ridiculous than a Chinese essay." After speaking, the physics teacher looked at Bai Lian with a smile. The surprise in his heart wasn't missing. This physics test was considered difficult, and several top students performed very well. But what he didn't expect was that Bai Lian, who had switched from liberal arts to science, also managed to score full marks. Thinking about it, the physics teacher felt it was a pity. Why didn't she switch over in the second year? If she had done that, participating in 2 physics competitions might have given her a chance for direct university admission. Class ended. During lunch, Bai Lian, Yang Lin, Pu Ziohen, and 4 other girls from the entertainment committee were together. Bai Lian, "Later we'll go try out the stage. The student council wants to check it." The entertainment committee member said to Bai Lian, "Longsword has arrived this morning. I'll pick up the delivery from the office after I finish eating." "Okay," Bai Lian nodded. After the group of girls finished talking, Zhang Shais came over with his meal. Gloomily looking at Bai Lian, "So when you said you didn't finish?" Bai Lian, skillful in dividing half her dishes into Yang Lin's bowl, looked up at Zhang Shai's words, her tone unhurried. "Indeed, I didn't write for biology and chemistry." Physics 110. Pu Ziohen's eyes widened while looking at Bai Lian. "How did you do that? I heard there were only 4 full scores in physics for the whole school. Why didn't you write for biology and chemistry?" Bai Lian lowered her gaze, eating methodically. After swallowing her food, she then looked up at Pu Ziohen, her almond eyes particularly bright, very matter-of-factly. "I haven't studied those yet." The whole table was stunned. 6. During lunch. At the school auditorium. By the time Bai Lian and Pu Ziohen's group arrived, there were a lot of people in the auditorium. "Pu Ziohen, you're here." The president of the student council's cultural department greeted them with a smile. "Wait a moment, after the skit rehearsal is over, it's your turn." Bai Lian found a place to sit down, taking out her headphones and vocabulary book to start memorizing words. "Why are there so many people today?" Pu Ziohen looked at the auditorium filled with boys. The cultural department's head whispered, "Didn't see the forum. Ren Wangshuan is coming to rehearse, and they're all waiting for her." Pu Ziohen, lo. The head spoke with Pu Ziohen, stealing glances at Bai Lian, who was memorizing words. "Are you really not going to lure her to the cultural department?" "The new student doesn't have time," Pu Ziohen whispered. "She studies very seriously." "All right." As they talked, another group arrived outside the auditorium. Pu Ziohen looked up and saw several boys and girls from Class 8, surrounding Ren Wangxuan as they came in. Soon, the president of the student council came out from the backstage specifically to greet them. Wait a moment, Pu Ziohan noticed after the skit ended. A piano was moved onto the stage. Isn't Class 8 later than us? Ren Wangxuan had been known in the school forum to have won a second prize for piano. Pu Ziohan knew just by looking that the piano was for her. Hey, stay calm. The cultural department head pressed Pu Ziohan's shoulder helplessly. It can't be helped. You know how Ren Wangxuan is the financial god of the external relations department. All student council sponsorships come from her mother, and she's on good terms with our president too. She was popular, not lacking money, on good terms with the student council, and the school often made concessions for them. Ren Wangxuan played the piano. The audience in the auditorium stopped what they were doing and watched her performance intently. It was evident that Ren Wangxuan had been learning piano from a young age. Both technique and emotion were spot on. After the performance, a wave-like round of applause erupted. Don't say it, Pu Ziohan, who disliked the elites in the Crown Prince class, had to nod after listening. Class 8 might not be much to talk about, but they can't criticize the piano playing. Returning to her senses, the head agreed. Let's go, it's your turn. Pu Ziohan watched Ren Wangxuan come down from the stage, recalling her professional-level piano performance. She quietly reminded the head, Bai Lian is average at longsword. Make sure you guys in the department ramp up the atmosphere when it's time, got it? The head used to be classmates with Pu Ziohan before they were assigned different classes, now in liberal arts. She thought for a moment, or should we schedule you guys after the next? What? Bai Lian just finished memorizing a page of vocabulary. She turned off the app and looked up at the two beside her. Pu Ziohan touched her nose and explained honestly. Bai Lian put away her headphones, stood up, her posture straight and her blue and white school uniform neat, her dark eyes slightly narrowed, lazily tilted her head to the side, lips curled slightly. It's not necessary. Head of the Literature and Art Department immediately pinched Pu Ziohan's arm, conveying with her gaze. So cool. I am totally smitten. Pu Ziohan smiled, urging her to maintain her composure, and then she took Bai Lian to the backstage. The senior transfer student was very well known at the school. Several members of the student council, after watching the piano performance and hearing that she'd arrived, all went backstage to catch a glimpse of her. Bai Lian had taken off her school uniform jacket and was only wearing a white t-shirt with a water-ink-colored white crane embroidered on it. She looked over the longsword that Pu Ziohan had custom-made, weighing it in her hands. The longsword had a black exterior with golden patterns, as tall as half her height, and weighed a bit over 1 jin. Pu Ziohan originally feared the longsword might be too heavy and difficult to swing, but Bai Lian handled it as if it were light as a feather. It was as if what she held was not a jin-heavy iron sword, but a mere feather. Bai Lian examined it for a while, then swiftly drew it from its sheath. Although the longsword was not sharpened, its cold gleam was evident, reflecting in her dark pupils. Bai Lian, with one hand on the hilt and the other loosely holding the sheath, hair pinned up at the back of her head, held the cold sword as though she were a swordsman in white traveling the world. The imposing aura on her naturally radiated with the longsword in hand. She methodically returned the longsword to the sheath, then turned to the side. Is it my turn? Go up from here. The members of the student council came to their senses and pointed out the place to get on stage. The piano has already been moved away. As Bai Lian parted the curtains and stepped onto the stage from backstage, a few people hurriedly surged out to watch the transfer students' performance up close from below the stage. In the outside corridor, the president of the student council and the head of the external relations department were seeing Ren Wangxuan out. "What were you doing backstage?" the president asked them. Ren Wongshuan's piano had been on TV and had won awards. Everyone in school wanted to see it, but opportunities to watch Ren Wongshuan perform were few and far between. She'd been specifically requested to close the show this time because sponsors who had long supported Xiangcheng No. 1 High School were visiting, so the school had invited her. The council members all knew that even before the rehearsals, people on the Beidou Taiba forums were already looking forward to it. They were all there to watch Ren Wongshuan. "We just got back from watching it." Pu Ziohen and the others had already taken their leave. The literature and art department head stayed back to explain to the president. "Bai Lian is about to perform. We were just heading out to watch." The new student. The president naturally was also familiar with the name Bai Lian. "Then I'll go have a look too." "Sure," the literature and art department head waved her hand. "Just remember to applaud then. The new student's performance isn't that professional." After they left, Ren Wongshuan turned to the president, Bai Lian. "That transfer student." The president hadn't paid close attention to the performance schedule and now pulled it out to see. "I didn't expect she'd also participate in the performance. A sword dance, huh? But I heard she isn't professional." Ren Wongshuan looked at the lengthy performance program. She was scheduled at the very end, a deliberate arrangement by the school authorities to keep the audience in their seats. Third from the last was Bai Lian's performance. Ren Wongshuan withdrew her gaze casually. "Doesn't the second-to-last program clash with mine? Let's swap it with the one before." Students like to form cliques. Ren Wongshuan and her group either had wealthy families or powerful connections. Anything they faced at home could be resolved for them, and they were used to being the center of attention. The Ren family had even donated a canteen exclusively for Ren Wongshuan. Mixing with ordinary students over time made class tensions quite apparent. The more the ordinary students dared not provoke them, the more arrogant and proud these individuals became. The president looked down at the performance program. The second to last was a popular music duet, which didn't clash with the piano performance, but he certainly wouldn't deny Ren Wongshuan face. Okay, he swapped the second to last act with the third to last one. Outside on stage, a group of boys, after watching Ren Wongshuan's performance, leisurely got up, horsing around and preparing to return to their classrooms. "How was it? Did you record it?" "I did, but you can't upload it on Beidou Taiba. I'll show you secretly later." The school celebration hadn't started yet. Rehearsals were not to be leaked. Until once again, a beam of light fell onto the stage. "What's the performance about?" some asked while leaving the auditorium. "It's Bai Lian's. I heard it's a sword dance." Wang Yu got the news from the literature and art department and started speaking with his phone. Just now, the literature and art department people said to give the new student some face and to go support her. "That's more like it. She's so good-looking it's not like she can do everything," a boy laughed. "The kids from Class 8 who seem to know how to do everything are the ones who often make me doubt myself. I'll stay to support her." Well, that's about enough. Some classmates were in a hurry to get back to their classes. "I'll watch the new student's performance on the day of the school celebration." Many people were leaving after all. Most of them had come for Ren Wongshuan. A small portion remained, looking up at the stage. This time, no one sneakily pulled out their phones to record. In the center of the stage, Bai Lian was dressed in blue school trousers and a white shirt, her right hand gripping a longsword, its tip pointing outward. Her eyes were cast downwards, and she stood tall and elegant, exuding an overwhelming presence even before the performance began. The chatter from below gradually ceased. Thump thump. The sound of the drum, with a strong sense of rhythm, began to rise. She suddenly lifted her head, her dark eyes opening wide, and raised her right arm. As the guzheng and flute joined in, She spun her arm outward, slicing the sword edge from left to right, drawing 2 vertical circles, and at the end of the short guzheng note, her wrist lifted, making a point-break sword gesture diagonally towards the ground. The bubbling sound of the guzheng strings merged with the distant, melodious flute as the drumming rejoined. Bai Lian flipped midair, her entire body soaring, the sword momentarily twirling around her wrist before she firmly grasped it again upon landing. The drumming crescendoed. As she moved her sword in circular motions, she executed a series of flips along a straight pathway, her right hand performing the sword flower technique nearly 20 times consecutively. The sword tore through the air like a dragon in flight, its cold light flashing. Meanwhile, her movements were as light as a drifting cloud, never touching the ground. Bai Lian's gaze followed the sword edge, her body leaning backward as the instrumental music came to an end, swiftly reversed with the sword tracing across her chest, and with a swift flip, she sheathed the sword. Boom! The drumbeat abruptly stopped. With the sword vertical in front of her chest, she slowly lifted her head along with the sword, revealing a pair of deep, cold eyes. The spotlight froze on her, as if thunder that had been rumbling suddenly ceased, and a tumultuous sea instantly calmed. Bai Lian remained standing at the center of the stage, and now without the glint of cold steel, she stood out sharply as though atop a snowy mountain in a blizzard. The entire auditorium was silent. It wasn't until Bai Lian, holding her sword, brushed through the black curtains to the backstage that the silent hall, like a calm pot of oil with a drop of water added, exploded into commotion. Ziohan, on the left side of the stage, the head of the literary and art department, was on the verge of throttling her. "You call this unprofessional? If this is unprofessional, what is professional? It's all your fault I didn't record the screen." A female student from the art class murmured beside her, "Not to mention her sword flower technique and point-break sword. Just the flips alone, no one in our art class can do it as smoothly." Pu Ziohan, who was almost strangled. Down in the seats. A group of boys took a while to snap back to reality. "Wang Yu, did you happen to record it, did you?" Some tried to snatch Wang Yu's phone. Wang Yu, whose phone was snatched. "I only realized what was happening towards the end and managed to record the last 20 seconds. Be careful not to accidentally delete it." The group of boys hurriedly played the video. From a distance from the stage and after enlarging the video, they could only see Bai Lian's silhouette. White shirt, blue trousers, a blur of a red band around her wrist, and a white spotlight above her head. Even through a distant lens, one could glimpse her hibiscus-like complexion. Vivid and impactful. The sword was like frost in snow, creating an impression of wild and ethereal transcendence. Amazing. Backstage there was no one. After Bai Lian picked up her coat, Pu Ziohan and the others came in. "Take care of our longswords." Pu Ziohan solemnly handed the longswords to a logistics staff member. The staff members, still looking at Bai Lian, took the swords. "Don't worry." The student council intended to interview Bai Lian more thoroughly, even considering a special school newspaper feature for her. But Bai Lian was in a hurry to get back to her homework and didn't linger. It was only after leaving the hall. Pu Ziohan looked pensively at Bai Lian. Bai Lian grabbed her vocabulary book, her brows and eyes lifting slightly. "Speak. Didn't you say you were only average with the longsword?" "Yes," Bai Lian was startled. The Bai family excelled in spears and mounted archery. She did as well. Among the 6 arts except for ritual, she mastered them all, and in the 8 elegances she slightly surpassed others in zither, literature, poetry, wine, and tea. As for the longsword, she had only learned a few tricks. Giving a sword dance was one thing, but for real combat the spear suited her better. Pu Ziohan saw it clearly. Bai Lian seriously considered herself average with the longsword. It was not modesty. No, how can you call that average? Pu Ziohen recalled what the art student had said. What kind of environment did the new student grow up in? Bai Lian nodded. What else then? Pu Ziohen. If that was average, then what was left for others? Bai Lian's phone vibrated. She checked it and saw it was a message about a package that had arrived at the school. She put the phone back into her pocket, planning to retrieve the package later in the evening. Pu Ziohen returned to the classroom, and everyone instantly gathered around her. To avoid making Bai Lian nervous, the cultural committee member didn't follow her. How was the rehearsal? She asked anxiously. Pu Ziohen took out a book and then slammed her fist down on the desk. Damn, there's no recording. All I can say is, it was your loss for not seeing it. You have to see it live with your own eyes to know what a real shock is. Following the last director, Pu Ziohen was once again metaphorically choked by someone. She would have been fine had she not spoken, but her words practically made everyone else want to smack her. Is what you're holding the standard answer? After the teasing, the cultural committee member sighed with relief, looking at the Chinese answer card Pu Ziohen was holding up for imitation. The neat handwriting on it really did look like the standard answer. This, Pu Ziohen unfolded Bai Lian's Chinese answer card, is Bai Lian's answer card that I'm imitating. Wait, the cultural committee member pointed in disbelief at the poetry fill-in-the-blank. She could write the answer even for the elective extracurricular reading. Pu Ziohen had previously only focused on Bai Lian's essay and hadn't noticed that her score up front in the basics was a perfect 90. Hearing this, she subconsciously looked down. This time, there was a particularly obscure question in the Chinese poetry fill-in-the-blank section. 16. In Bai Xiangjun's military expedition, Part 2, the phrases express her boundlessly gallant and heroic ambitions and also evoke various interpretations by later generations of readers. This poem hadn't been covered by Lu Lingxi yet, and they hadn't studied it in class either. But there it was, written neatly on Bai Lian's answer card. Mounting the war chariot, I weep blood upon the blade. With a jug of wine, I clasp the moon and soar to the heavens. Pu Ziohen subconsciously looked back at Bai Lian, who was lowering her gaze and seriously solving an ellipse problem. So she struggled to explain on behalf of Bai Lian. Bai was previously in the art stream, so she might have studied something different from us, I guess. Pu Ziohen almost guiltily added the word I guess. People from Xiangcheng cherish Bai Xiangjun's poetry, and virtually every exam at Xiangcheng, #1 middle school, features her verses, so even students like Zhang Shais who coast through their days wouldn't get them wrong. But the line used today was, indeed, much more obscure than her usual ones. If Bai Lian could produce that answer, it was truly bizarre. The last week at the training class, most students acknowledge that 90% of the 2 spots will go to Ren Wangxuan and Chen Zhu. But they haven't given up and are studying seriously. The class monitor of Class 8 distributed today's papers, eventually fixing his gaze on Tang Ming. Starting today, the difficulty level of the problems will spike again. Each one of you has a chance, so I hope no one gives up. Tang Ming, like Enning Zio and Bai Lian, did not start on the problems immediately. Enning Zio, without any pretense, took out a Jiangjing University physics book and casually flipped through it. He asked Tang Ming, when are you going to start studying it? Tang Ming, looking back through previous analyses, didn't look up. Let's see, I don't have time right now. After the class monitor of Class 8 left, most students couldn't help but look over at them, especially after Tang Ming's comment. Those familiar with Ren Wangxuan and Chen Zhu shifted the topic and asked Ren Wangxuan, Don't both of you have like over 290 in comprehensive science? Yeah, this set of questions wasn't too difficult. Ren Wongshuan shifted her gaze away. That's impressive, the other person sighed. I got 277 and only 104 in physics. Several questions were much like the training materials, but I didn't get them right. Ren Wongshuan and Chen Zhu were used to the attention and praise from others and didn't mind it. While they were talking, suddenly someone looked towards Bai Lian. Hey, how do you think the new student did on the exam? Once this was mentioned, everyone was curious. Bai Lian, after all, had been singled out by the principal, forbidding her from studying arts. She must have done well, don't you remember she was specially admitted? Someone mysteriously chimed in, and I saw on the forums that the new student's performance was stunning. Really? Everyone around was discussing Bai Lian. Ren Wongshuan looked down and slowly packed her things, her expression one of cold irony. A performance piece. What speciality? Just a pretty face to look at, I suppose. Enning Zio got 296 in comprehensive science. Since they had encountered these types of physics questions in the training class, the difference lay only in chemistry and biology. Chen Zhu was also curious about the new student's score. Wonder what Bai Lian got. Chen Zhu had a 297 in comprehensive science this time. Ren Wongshuan scored exactly 290. Ren Wongshuan hastily zipped up her bag, glanced at them and said casually, talking about the new student. Her comprehensive science score is 110, with a total of 450. This was the total score Ren Wongshuan saw in the office. She specifically looked for Bai Lian's ranking. There were nearly 900 students in the senior year, 669 in science, and Bai Lian was ranked 427 among the science students. It took a while for Ren Wongshuan to find Bai Lian's ranking. She also breathed a sigh of relief. Bai Lian, who had been praised by the principal, only had such average grades, nothing to fear. 110. The boy speaking was very surprised. How come it's so low? Ren Wongshuan shook her head. She wasn't interested. Chen Zhu, however, found the reason. Her biology and chemistry must be bad. It's probably only physics that's decent. Ah, the others were very surprised. With that, can she get into Baikeng University? Of course, none of them had even considered that Bai Lian could get into Jiangjing University. It was still unknown whether Chen Zhu and Ren Wongshuan could get in this year, let alone the others. Their highest aspiration as average students was merely Baikeng University. But all this was no longer within Chen Zhu's consideration. Since both Bai Lian and Enning Zio's scores were lower than his, he stopped caring about Bai Lian's scores. After his gaze swept past Enning Zio, who was flipping through physics at Jiangjing University, he bent his head and started packing up his books. Then, with the envious looks of a few people, he left early. The other two in the group followed them. They knew that the one who provided the answers to Ren Wongshuan's group every day was a doctorate student from Jiangjing University. 9 o'clock, the milk tea shop. 3 people were focusing on doing their questions and homework. Jiang He sat beside Bai Lian. Ming Dingheng poured a cup of water for Bai Lian and Jiang He, then placed the kettle on the table, gesturing to Enning Zio and Tang Ming to pour their own water. Tang Ming expressed his thanks repeatedly, then poured water for himself and Enning Zio. He was once a top student at his high school, but here he was not even good enough to be at the bottom, not to mention that youngster. He couldn't help but feel that the robust tall guy next to the youngster seemed smarter than him. As the wind chimes at the door tinkled, Jiang He fluidly got up and moved to the table behind Bai Lian. Jiang Fulai entered, wrapped in a dark gray trench coat, carrying the chill with him. Tang Ming glanced up and saw the red hardcover book in his hand. Was that The Chinese Dictionary. Are we studying particles today? Jiang Fulai handed the hardcover book to Ming Dingheng, sat down after flipping his coat, and carelessly took the worksheet Bai Lian had set aside in his pale fingers. Bai Lian was working on an English reading comprehension. She hadn't memorized enough English words yet, so it wasn't going very smoothly. She looked up a bit pensive. Right, kinematic factors, they have scattering angles. Can they be treated as two-dimensional collisions? Bai Lian was talking about the last question. She could answer the first 3 sub-questions. Correct. Jiang Fulai's eyes slightly arched as he unfolded the test paper and handed it to Bai Lian. Try explaining your understanding to these two. This task was familiar to Bai Lian. Confident the general direction was correct, she pulled out a piece of blank paper, her eyes drooping, and lazily replied, "Okay." Zhao had heard Bai Lian explain problems before, so he wasn't surprised. Tang Ming, on the other hand, paid close attention to Bai Lian's structured explanation. Her speech was as lazy as her demeanor, and because she often explained problems to Jai Heng, she did not have the habit of skipping 2 simple parts like Jiang Fulai. To Tang Ming, it sounded quite simple. Since she spoke slowly, he could take notes just right, and he even dared to ask if he missed anything. Jiang Fulai, on the side, watched Bai Lian drawing a diagram of the relationship between kinematic factors and scattering angles on paper. Her drawing was fluid and confident, with visibly equidistant segments. Her hand was slender and fair, seeming to glow, with her casually tied black hair revealing her delicate neck, and laziness tinged her eyes and brows. Behind her, Ming Dingheng knew at a glance to whom the Chinese dictionary was meant for. He sat next to Jiang He and pushed the book to him. Jiang He, playing with a Rubik's Cube, did not lift his head and push the book back to Ming Dingheng, clearly resisting. Ming Dingheng. He silently pushed the book back to Jiang He, thinking he didn't know. "Young master, this is from your brother." Jiang He coldly pushed it back. Ming Dingheng pushed it over. And back again. Jiang Fulai swept a cold glance over. "Are you two playing passing the pigeon?" Ming Dingheng. Jiang He glanced at Jiang Fulai, seemed like he wanted to say something but still didn't dare, grudgingly reached out a little hand and took back the Chinese dictionary that was pushed in front of Ming Dingheng. Tonight, Bai Lian explained the problems very meticulously. Although when Bai Lian explained for the 3rd time, Jiang Fulai casually glanced at Tang Ming. The cold glare from him executed Tang Ming many times over. Even though Tang Ming still ranked within the top 15 of his grade in this month's exam, he couldn't help but doubt his own intelligence. Today, he finished his work a bit earlier than usual, at 11 o'clock. Bai Lian remembered that she hadn't picked up her package yet. "Where is it?" Jiang Fulai shut down his computer, his expression unchanged, his fingertips closing the laptop. With a pen still in her hand, Bai Lian casually leaned back, tilted her head and said, "At the school's reception office." "Okay." Jiang Fulai stood up. "You keep reviewing." Bai Lian gave him the pickup code. Jiang He, who was above worldly matters, usually had packages fetched, opened, and handed to him by the butler's assistant. This was the first time he learned what a pickup code was. Xiancheng No. 1 High School's self-study rooms are open until 11 at night. Therefore, the reception office's security guard was still there at this hour. When he was drowsy, he heard a cold voice above him. "Hello. I'm here to pick up a package." It was like a bucket of ice water being dumped on him, the chill seeping down from the crown of his head. The security guard, stunned, looked up to see a pair of pale, chilly eyes. The face was too fair, cold, and stern, looking down through the window at him, arrogant and indifferent, dangerously daunting to the onlooker. 920147, Jiang Fulai said indifferently. withdrawing his gaze as he recited a string of numbers. There weren't many packages sent to the school. The guard found the package within a short time and handed it over, even bending over to add, "Take care." It was only after the transaction was completed that the security guard came to his senses. He smacked his head. "Really, why did I tell him to take care?" Bai Lian opened the package as soon as she got it. It was a household registration book sent by the Public Security Bureau, registered under Jai Heng's name. Ziying Cheng's Public Security Bureau had reissued a new household registration book for her. Tang Ming and Enning Zio had just left after finishing their work. Bai Lian flipped through the 2 pages of the household registration book several times, aided by the light from a milk tea shop. The household registration book was thin as always, with only 2 pages recorded: household head Jai Heng, granddaughter Bai Lian. She did not avoid Jiang Fulai, so he saw the thin 2 pages at a glance. Since meeting Bai Lian, Jiang He had never investigated her, but he glanced at the household registration book, a nearly imperceptible frown creasing his brow. Bai Lian kept looking at the household registration book, her demeanor not as lazy and casual as usual. Quite silent, Jiang Fulai reached for his phone and sent her a video through the internet. The vibration of her phone startled Bai Lian. When she looked, it was footage of several clumsy-looking fat birds waddling back and forth. "These are dodos," Jiang Fulai explained casually from one side. "They were so dumb that they're extinct now." Bai Lian couldn't help but burst into laughter. She naturally caught the earlier remark by Jiang Fulai. Unable to help it, she glanced towards Jiang He and Ming Dingheng. Ming Dingheng was standing at the door with his arms crossed, and when he saw her looking over, he seemed a bit perplexed. "Swishy." Beside them, Jiang He, who was looking through a dictionary, coldly and mercilessly flipped a page. 11:30. Jai Heng was still waiting for Bai Lian at the mouth of the alley. He would take naps at noon, and at night he would light a lamp to work on some embroidery, timing it perfectly for Bai Lian's return. Occasionally, he would make some sweet soup dumplings for Bai Lian's late-night snack. "What are you looking at?" He turned on his flashlight, peering at Bai Lian. "The light is too dim. It's bad for your eyes. If you want to read, go back and turn on the light." Oh, Bai Lian handed the household registration book to Jai Heng, her voice nonchalant. "The household book, it arrived today." Jai Heng's fingers holding the household registration book paused for a moment. He lowered his gaze, his deep-lined fingers caressing the book, only muttering a sound of agreement. "Don't place too much pressure on yourself with your studies. Switching from arts to science isn't easy. Your uncle and I don't expect you to get into university next year." After speaking a few words, he noticed Bai Lian was still softly muttering vocab words. "Are you listening to me?" "I am." Bai Lian walked beside him, not looking up, slowly repeating, "You and Uncle haven't planned for me to get in next year." Jai Heng. "So you can really do 2 things at once, huh?" Bai Lian continued to diligently recite vocabulary words. Over time, Jai Heng had come to understand Bai Lian's character. She really had developed excellent study habits. Although he disliked the Bai family, he had to admit that the Bai family was a distinguished lineage that raised Bai Lian with great poise. Had Bai Lian grown up by his side, Jai Heng couldn't be sure he could have raised her the same way. All he could do was murmur to himself, "Would repeating 2 years really not afford you?" The flashlight was very bright. It cast long shadows of the elder and the young girl. The household registration book belonging to Jai Heng gained an extra page, and the yellow book belonging to Bai Lian seemed to no longer contain just her name alone. It was Tuesday, and there was a biology class. The biology teacher shared an office with the physics teacher. He knew that 2 students in class 15 had scored perfect in physics, One of them was Enning Zio, and the other. Looking at the biology score marked 0, he raised his head, and with a look of resignation he addressed Bai Lian. Bai Lian, why don't you write the biology test? The physics teacher, overhearing the biology teacher, became displeased. Now look here, Mr. Wang, how can you pressure Bai Lian like this? Don't you know she has just switched to science? Turning to Bai Lian, the physics teacher added, he's really something not at all like me. I'm very lenient with you, Bai Lian. No matter how you do in class, I don't mind. The biology teacher. He felt like cursing at the physics teacher. What do you mind? Do you mind if her scores are too high? The physics teacher was off to class 14 for the next period, clutching the papers, satisfied as he left the office. Bai Lian, with downcast eyes, was dressed in her school uniform, slender and tall, responding to the biology teacher, Teacher, it's because I haven't studied it yet. If physics, which is many times harder than biology, could be aced by her, how could she possibly not have studied biology? The biology teacher didn't believe a word of it. If it hadn't been for the fact that he'd heard someone got a 0 in chemistry too, he might have suspected the new student had something against him. Bai Lian, the biology teacher said somewhat meekly, then tell me, could we maybe, just possibly, every now and then study a bit of biology? Bai Lian was almost done with her physics foundation. She had also copied Yang Lin's biology notebook completely. The biology teacher's suggestion coincided with her own plans. Okay, I got it, teacher. You don't. The biology teacher was about to urge her earnestly. Hearing what sounded like agreement, he perked up, looking at her. Really? Of course, Bai Lian lifted her eyebrows. Good, the biology teacher nodded, then cleared his throat. With eyes as big as yours, you better not lie to your teacher. Bai Lian. Thursday. The last day of training classes. After watching the day's recorded session, the teacher in charge of Class 8 distributed the final exercises to the training class, scanning the students. Today is the last day for exercises. Turn in your answers tomorrow. After the school's meeting is over, we'll announce the 2 chosen candidates. His words stirred up a storm. Even though they knew the spots were not meant for them, witnessing the birth of the legendary app at their school was still a rarity. The phone in hand buzzed, a reminder from the school for him to attend a meeting. The Class 8 teacher had to leave in a hurry and didn't linger. After ensuring everything was in order, he left the training class. As soon as he closed the door, the training class erupted into excitement. Ren Wangshuan, Chen Zhu. Someone looked at them with a smile. Once the spots are confirmed tomorrow and you've downloaded the app, could we take a look? Once this was said, nearly everyone turned to look at the two of them. Yes, Ren Wangshuan, show us a glimpse tomorrow, will you? Ren Wangshuan was packing up her things. Although she didn't show it on the surface, she was extremely excited on the inside. Sure, whoever wants to see it can just tell me, she said calmly, continuing to pack her things. It was the last day today, and the Ren family had managed to invite Dr. Gao once again. Wangshuan didn't want to be late. As Chen Zhu stood up, he saw Enning Zio giving the book to Tang Ming. Chen Zhu paused, lowered his voice, and asked, "She didn't agree to sell the book to you?" Chen Zhu was aware of Bai Lian's connections with the Ren family. He had thought the Ren family would find a way to buy it. But during these few days, Ren Wangshuan had no news. No, Ren Wangshuan said on her way out, unconcerned. If she were willing to sell, I had even planned to give her Dr. Gao's answers. Upon hearing her say this, the other 2 members of the group were quite surprised. Wangshuan, you're really kind. Ren Wangshuan had given only Chen Zhu the complete answers to the daily exercises, and now she was even willing to give them to the transfer student. This training class was specially established by Jiangjing University this year. They were all in competition with each other. ranking at the top, could possibly catch the attention of someone from Jiangjing University. They understood why Ren Wangxuan gave them only half of the answers. After all, she was doing it free of charge, and they were grateful to have half the answers. Thinking of this, the two couldn't help but glance towards Bai Lian. Perhaps did this new student even realize what she had missed out on? Bai Lian was studying earnestly, caring little about what she might lose. But their glance happened to fall on the book that Tang Ming was flipping through casually. The previous evening, it was Bai Lian who had explained the problems, and when Tang Ming didn't understand, he asked her. He quickly grasped it and found time to look at Jiangjing University's physics materials, half of which consisted of a comprehensive analysis of theorems in optics, electromagnetism, and kinematics. The other half was about the principle and results of experiments conducted in the laboratory. Tang Ming didn't seem as relaxed as Enning Zio. After flipping through a few pages, he returned the book to Enning Zio with a frown. "I won't look at it now. I'll check your notes later." Enning Zio took it back. Ren Wangxuan's group, watching the two pass the book back and forth so casually, couldn't help but feel envious. They treat that book so carelessly. The group gave up talking about what Bai Lian was missing, their minds a swirl of sentiments. If it were mine, I would look through it every day. They would definitely not treat it with such indifference as Bai Lian and the others did. Ren Wangxuan and Chen Zhu left the room. Do they have any idea how important the experiments in the back are? Another voice whispered softly. A waste on the undeserving. Ren Wangxuan pursed her lips. What was Bai Lian thinking? She clearly didn't look at it and gave it away casually, yet she was unwilling to sell it to the Ren family. 8 o'clock. The trio of Bai Lian still left together as always. It wasn't until they were gone that the others in the room turned to look at Bai Lian's side. They too knew what Bai Lian had, but obviously Ren Wangxuan had animosity towards Bai Lian, and with the crown class being so renowned at school, even if they wanted to befriend Bai Lian, they wouldn't dare to do so openly. Especially since, initially, they also harbored animosity towards Bai Lian, who didn't seem approachable. They had their reasons, but Zhu Jiren was obviously in the same group as Bai Lian. "Jiren, what's going on? Aren't you in the same group?" Zhu Jiren's smile was stiff. She had no idea Bai Lian would have that book. If she had known earlier, even if she knew it would only help Bai Lian during the class group discussion, she would not have refused. Perhaps it was for that reason Bai Lian didn't let her join. Milk tea shop. Chief Chen, from behind the glass, was shocked to see Jiang He flipping through a very thick dictionary. "Mr. Ming, how come you are here?" "Jiang Shao will be here later," Ming Dingheng responded coolly, not planning to elaborate. Chief Chen didn't even dare to meddle in Jiang Fulai's affairs. Ming Dingheng was always so cool. His reaction wasn't a bit surprising. He was waiting for Jiang Fulai to return today, but had found the estate empty. It was only after contacting Ming Dingheng that he found out they were here. Looking at the milk tea shop's simple decor and cramped space, Chief Chen thought that it didn't seem to match Jiang Fulai's status at all. "They have given up searching for your master. Chen Jingyu has found Tongpa." Chief Chen suddenly remembered something and spoke to Ming Dingheng with a serious expression. Ming Dingheng frowned. "I know I'm trying to contact my master now." As they were talking, 3 figures in Xiancheng No. 1 high school uniforms approached from the direction of the school gate. Chief Chen casually glanced over and was slightly taken aback upon seeing the lazy-looking girl walking alongside them. The girl in the No. 1 high school uniform carelessly slung her backpack over one shoulder, holding a vocabulary book in the other hand. With a lock of hair softly resting on her brow ridge, she marched straight towards the milk tea shop. Without turning a corner, "Miss Bai," Chief Chen promptly greeted her politely as she approached. Ning Xiao and Tang Ming didn't recognize Chief Chen, but they sensed his imposing presence. They entered the milk tea shop first. Bai Lian, one step behind them, idly pressed on her vocabulary book with her fair fingertips and nodded to him, "Hello." Her eyes and brows were always calm, and she handled everything unruffled. It was as if it didn't matter to her whether she was facing a beggar or a king. They might not even be as important as the word/app on her phone. It wasn't until Bai Lian sat down next to Jiang He that Chief Chen realized something was amiss. The milk tea shop was not open for business at this time. What were these three doing here? While he was still surprised, a black car slowly pulled up by the roadside. Jiang Fulai got out from the back, a slim black laptop resting on his wrist. "Young Master Jiang," Chief Chen gathered his thoughts, his hands hanging by his side, and spoke respectfully. Jiang Fulai stopped. In his light gray coat, he always seemed exceptionally cool. His gaze calmly landed on Chief Chen. "What are we still missing?" Chief Chen reported the matter at hand. Wang Yufeng was spotted on Baxter Street today. He had been shot before, so he's only emerged now. We can now be fairly certain he has the MT-035 mineral in his possession. That old fox is probably waiting for a few companies to enter a bidding war. As a world-famous mineral merchant, meeting Wang Yufeng was not easy. MT-035 mineral is an important component for boosters. Detectors can only reach Mars for now. Getting samples to successfully return to Earth is no easy task, and the aerospace sector is working towards this goal. Last year, they had already finalized the blueprints for constructing detectors, lacking only materials to report for the commencement of work. Price is not an issue. Jiang Fulai stood at the entrance of the milk tea shop, his eyelashes half lowered, his eyes shrouded in shadow, his voice light. "If you can't handle him, get someone else to do it." The young Master Jiang was only responsible for drawing up plans and conducting research. He didn't waste time on such trivial matters unless necessary. If they had to rely on him for this as well, the Chen family and the aerospace sector would probably be cursed to death by him together. The only one familiar with them is Baixuan, but she has been abroad recently. If necessary, I will urgently call her back. With Jiang Fulai's assurance, Director Chen gathered the resolve to enter the bidding, but to negotiate a price with Wang Yufeng. Not to mention him, even if Elder Chen and Chen Baixuan came, they might not be able to handle it. How could you bid if you can't even meet the person? Director Chen pondered over international connections or paying a high price on the black market for information. When you have money, you can make ghosts turn the millstone, and the Jiang family is so poor, all they have left is money. As he was thinking, he saw Jiang Fulai pushing aside the curtain and entering the milk tea shop. Jiang He, with an expressionless face, flipped through a dictionary and coldly stood up, carrying the large dictionary to a table in the back. Jiang Fulai casually took the seat that he had vacated. Director Chen's brows throbbed fiercely. He reflexively pressed his hand against his temple, reviewing his previous attitude towards that girl and reflecting upon it again and again. There shouldn't be any problem, right? The ringtone of his cell phone interrupted Director Chen's train of thought. He walked to his car, connected to Bluetooth, and took the call. It was Chen Gang. "Boss Chen," Chen Gang's voice was careful. "Do you have time in the next few days?" Director Chen started his car, his gaze lingering on the milk tea shop. "I have several cases to attend to. You keep an eye on the situations at Baxter Street in the black market for me, and contact me with any news." The black market was teeming with information, and Director Chen needed to enlist some more local watchdogs. On the other end of the phone, Chen Gang quickly replied, "Yes, yes." "How did it go?" In a private room of Wan building, Ren Qian asked anxiously about the outcome. Both families were quite disappointed since they couldn't assist Director Chen last time. Chen Gang relayed Director Chen's instructions. After all, Baxter Street was in Xiangcheng, and they must be more familiar with it than Director Chen. Ren Kaiyan glanced at the Secretary General. Almost instantly, the orders were dispatched. They had no idea where Director Chen got his auction channel last time. This time, they couldn't afford to let Director Chen down. Ren Jiawei did not involve herself in these political matters, just looking outside the private room. She raised an eyebrow. How come Dr. Gao hasn't arrived yet? He's half an hour late, isn't he? Researchers often face unexpected events. We need to be understanding. Ren Kaiyan calmly reminded Ren Jiawei. Show some respect when he arrives. Don't use the approach you take at the company. Ren Jiawei leaned back in her chair, communicating tomorrow's schedule with her assistant through her phone, nodding casually. She then remembered something and said to Ren Wongshuan and Chen Zhu, I've spent 30 million on this meal. Don't let it go to waste. You two must get Dr. Gao's contact information. She had invested 30 million in Dr. Gao Jiachen's research project, a significant sum. Ren Wongshuan and her counterpart exchanged glances. Chen Gang, sitting next to Ren Kaiyan, recalled something, puzzled. Oh, Chen Zhu mentioned the Ren family had a relative attending the training class too. Why didn't they come along? The Ren family didn't have anyone of the same age as Ren Wongshuan. But the Jai family. Ren Jiawei sat up straight. She put her phone on the table and, turning to look at Ren Wongshuan, asked, Bai Lian is in the training class. Didn't you say her grades were poor? Ren Wongshuan never mentioned this in the Ren family. It was only because she wanted the book that she told the Secretary General about it. Everyone present knew what it meant to be in the training class. Even Ren Kaiyan didn't know that Bai Lian was in the training class. He had only heard from Ren Wongshuan that Bai Lian had a score of 85 in the comprehensive science subjects. I only know she scored 110 this time in the comprehensive science subjects, Ren Wongshuan said, lowering her gaze and saying nothing more. Next to her, Chen Zhu pursed his lips with a glance at her. Bai Lian scoring 110 in science but still being praised by the principal and gaining exceptional admission into the training class must have had some extraordinary abilities. That's why he mentioned it to Chen Gang when he went home. Ren Wongshuan didn't mention it, and neither did Chen Zhu. Dr. Gao was connected through the Ren family. After all, he still stood on Ren Wongshuan's side. 110. Chen Gang withdrew his gaze and didn't ask any further. The final day. In the training class, the head teacher of Class 8 collected yesterday's exercises. He rolled up the answer sheets and then began playing today's screen recording. Everyone, watch an hour-long recording. I will finish marking today's answers, add the total scores, and announce them at 8 o'clock. Today's screen recording completely deviated from the previous knowledge points, focusing on quantum mechanics. So, quantum entanglement means that a particle exists in two states at the same time. We all know about Schrödinger's cat. Placing it in this context means that before you open the lid, the cat is in both alive and dead states. When you open the lid, it will collapse into one of those states. If you open it to find a live cat, then in a parallel universe, the you there opens it to see a dead cat. Bai Lian was always very interested in this and listened attentively. Everyone used to pay close attention to the screen recordings. But today, as the selections were about to be announced, apart from Bai Lian and those three, everyone else was too distracted to watch. Most people glanced at the clock every few minutes. Zhu Jiren was not in the mood to watch the recording. She took her paper and pen and sat next to Ren Wongshuan. On the last day, she knew she couldn't fit in with Bai Lian's group, so she came to Ren Wongshuan. Ren, can I take a look with you later? There were many who thought the same. The two members who belonged to Ren Wongshuan's group quickly objected. Of course, we need to see it first, right? Ren Wongshuan, is it okay if we queue up? Others in the training class negotiated. Ren Wongshuan was indifferent. Whatever, but don't borrow it for too long. Arrange the time yourselves. Ren, you're too generous. Ren Wongshuan held the pen, eyes on the screen, but actually not listening at all. Even with an uncertain answer, Zhu Jiren was extremely excited. The head teacher of Class 8 in the training class already had a plan in mind for the spots. The daily scores were close, and today's were about what he expected. Before 8 o'clock, he finished marking the papers, added the total scores, and printed the rankings. He took the total score sheet and pushed open the door to the training class. The sound of the door was barely noticeable, but most people noticed, and the cautious discussions came to an abrupt halt. Eyes swooshed and focused on him. The head teacher looked at Bai Lian and the other two, who were still listening attentively. He glanced at the time left on the recording, 20 minutes, and patiently found a seat to sit down, waiting for the video to end. This act made the other students restless. Ren Wongshuan narrowed her eyes, scanning the three including Bai Lian, her lips tightly pursed, looking extremely displeased. It's not like, what are those three doing? The people sitting nearby couldn't wait any longer. They can't get the spot anyway, so of course, they're not in a hurry. 8 o'clock. The screen recording stopped. The head teacher of Class 8 came to the podium with a stack of papers, watched by the students with intense focus. With one hand on his glasses and the other holding the list, he surveyed the room and then said, "Now, I will announce the total scores for the regular assessment." The classmates around Ren Wongshuan whispered congratulations in advance. "Wongshuan, Chen Zhu, let's congratulate you first." At the same moment, the head teacher's voice rang out. Inning Zio 175 points, Bai Lian 160 points, Chen Zhu 157. The person offering congratulations stopped in the middle of his sentence, stunned. He looked up, staring at the podium in near disbelief. Everyone's gaze subconsciously shifted towards Ren Wongshuan and Chen Zhu. In the lecture hall, the originally festive atmosphere instantly congealed. The homeroom teacher of Class 8 continued to announce scores. Tang Ming 155, Ren Wongshuan 154, Fan Kun 128. Not only did Chen Zhu score lower than Inning Zio and Bai Lian, but Ren Wongshuan even scored less than Tang Ming. Putting Inning Zio and Bai Lian aside, Tang Ming was only a mid-level student in the tutoring class. How could he score so high? The atmosphere on the scene was very odd. After all the scores had been read, the members of Ren Wongshuan's group finally raised their hands, hesitantly asking, "Teacher, why are Inning Zio and Bai Lian's scores higher than Chen Zhu's?" This was not only his question, but also the question of everyone present. Ren Wongshuan was never low profile, and most people knew they had a doctoral tutor from Jiangjing University helping them with their homework questions. How many students does Jiangjing University enroll each year? And even fewer among them could pursue a doctorate. How bad could the answers he provided to Ren Wongshuan be? "Teacher," Ren Wongshuan didn't stand up but spoke imperiously. "Did you give the answers to Bai Lian and the others?" The homeroom teacher of Class 8 was stunned. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something. But Ren Wongshuan didn't listen and interrupted him. "Even if you did give them the answers, my score would never be lower than Bai Lian's. Chen Zhu and I always write the standard answers. The answers are the same. What is your scoring standard? On a whim. You told me in the beginning that you would be absolutely fair. Is this your so-called fairness? Bai Lian missed 4 days. That's 40 points less. In such a case, her score could be lower than Bai Lian's." The air pressure in the lecture hall was very low. The homeroom teacher of Class 8 looked at Ren Wangxuan deeply. It's normal for you to have questions. He unfolded the remaining papers in his hand and had them distributed. These are the answer sheets of the top 5 students. Everyone can look through them at will, and after you're done, we can discuss my daily grading. Ren Wangxuan and Chen Zhu each got their hands on a few sheets of paper. All were from Inning Xiao and Bai Lian. Ren Wangxuan pushed the papers to one side, not wanting to look at them for even a second. She stared coldly at the homeroom teacher of Class 8, then turned her gaze to Bai Lian. Bai Lian was lazily propping her chin with her left hand, poking her notebook with the tip of her pen, half squinting her dark eyes and glancing at the notes at hand, looking very calm and composed. Chen Zhu didn't speak. His face darkened as he picked up an answer sheet and examined it closely. It was Bai Lian's answering process, neatly written, with each problem clearly analyzed, the entire page in full view. Chen Zhu's dark expression suddenly turned to astonishment, recognizing at a glance. This thorough and clear analysis of answers had been shown to him once by the homeroom teacher. All those who were able to attend classes here had excellent grades, and they could see the difference between the answers from Inning Xiao and Bai Lian and the standard answers. Even though physical science had standard answers, it was not easy to understand. The answers Dr. Gao gave Chen Zhu and the others included only sloppy formulas and final results without any process analysis, so most students couldn't understand even if they asked. Someone who had finished looking through Inning Xiao and Bai Lian's papers suddenly cried out in shock, so it was actually solved using two-dimensional collision. No wonder I couldn't understand the answer. With the first person speaking up, similar voices emerged one after another. Even Chen Zhu came to his senses, handing Bai Lian's paper to Ren Wangxuan. You should still take a look at their answer sheets. Ren Wangxuan frowned and took the paper. Dr. Gao Jiachen was acquired by the Ren family at a great cost, and he had published papers in Nature. She had heard Dr. Gao's assistant proudly mention that Dr. Gao had a formidable backing in Jiangjing. No one doubted his capability. Ren Wangxuan felt that no matter how perfect the answers were, they could not be better than what Dr. Gao Jiachen had given them. Until she saw the question on light particles written by Bai Lian. Not only did the first question have a well-done diagram with analysis, but every equation in the second question was also explained in detail from which perspective it was analyzed. Ren Wangxuan's sarcastic smile stiffened on her lips. Even with all her pride, she had to admit that Bai Lian's answers were clearer and more complete than the standard answers. But this, how could it be possible? Where did they get their answers from? Her hand clenched the paper so tightly that she crumpled it. Ren Wangxuan, Chen Zhu, I know you got the standard answers, but these standard answers are not perfect. The homeroom teacher of Class 8 began to speak earnestly when he saw everyone's heads bowed. The person who gave you the answers didn't explain the principles to you. Some of your answers to the final questions were very vague. You thought you had the standard answers, but even standard answers are made by humans. The world is far larger than you imagine, a mountain always higher than the last, and when you think you stand at the peak, little do you know someone is already in the clouds. Vision determines your circle, vision determines development, and I hope you will take to heart what I'm saying today. Ren Wangxuan, learning never ends, and you must always be prepared to accept that you are but a frog in a well. Ren Wangxuan simply did not take it in. When had she ever felt such embarrassment? Over the past few days, she had declared more than once that the spot was hers, but how would others see her now? Her face flushed with color, Ren Wangxuan crumpled the paper into a ball. With a bang, she stood up, leaving her belongings behind, fleeing out the door. Behind her, Grade 8's homeroom teacher Jingjing watched her departing figure. When the principal handed over the difficult royal class, it was with the hope that he would teach it well. He thought he had done well. At least grade 8 hadn't produced a school tyrant like Chen Wei. But now, the grade 8 homeroom teacher felt defeated once more. Ren Wongshuan's starting point was too high. It would take Tang Ming and the others over a decade of striving to earn the opportunity to sit with her in the same cram school. She was born with it. The Ren family gave her the best education. She enjoyed the best resources from a young age, never suffered, even had a cafeteria built for her in high school. She was too spoiled and had it too easy, got used to being looked up to, which ultimately led to her overly high self-esteem. Okay, the grade 8 homeroom teacher finally turned around after a long while and said in a deep voice to everyone, "Since Enning Zio and Bai Lian have the highest combined scores, the spot goes to them. No objections, right?" The outcome was unexpected for everyone. But the breakdown process was laid out right before their eyes. The difference was clear at a glance. Who could object? "If there are no objections, I will send the key to Bai Lian and Enning Zio." The grade 8 homeroom teacher added their contact details. He sent the link and the key. Enning Zio had long been curious about Jiangjing University's app and immediately downloaded it after receiving the link, then entered the key and completed the sign-up process seamlessly. The grade 8 homeroom teacher stood beside Bai Lian. He waited for Bai Lian to log in, but the other party didn't even glance at his phone. Still looking at a notebook. The homeroom teacher could stand not doing problems in the lecture hall, but what was going on now? You can resist the Jiangjing University app too. "Teacher?" A shadow fell over his head, and feeling a gaze fixated on him, Bai Lian pressed his notebook and looked up slightly, his dark eyes clear to the bottom. "Do you need something?" "Do I need something?" "Do you think I need something?" The grade 8 homeroom teacher felt an urge to say something, but in the end, he held back. He withdrew his gaze. "No, it's nothing." He turned around to collect the recently distributed answers. Most people were reluctant to let them go. But the grade 8 homeroom teacher was cool. He didn't give them the opportunity to look any longer. Bai Lian's paper, previously crumpled and thrown on the floor by Ren Wongshuan, caught the homeroom teacher's eye after a while, and he bent down to pick it up, gently smoothed it out, and returned it to Bai Lian. Bai Lian took it and then casually set it aside. "There are no exercises today. You can leave early," said the grade 8 homeroom teacher to everyone in the lecture hall, then placed his hands behind his back and left the lecture hall. However, no one left. Tang Ming sat next to Enning Zio, who had already registered and logged in. Turning back, he saw Bai Lian still looking at her notebook. "Why haven't you logged in yet?" He seemed more anxious than Bai Lian himself. Bai Lian leaned back gracefully, illuminated her phone with a right-hand click, and saw the link and key sent by the grade 8 homeroom teacher. Jiang Fulai had just sent her the same link. After a glance, she casually forwarded the link and key to Tang Ming. The three of them had added each other on WeChat last time. Bai Lian didn't have many people on her WeChat, so it was easy to find him. Tang Ming didn't see her operations. His phone vibrated twice, but he didn't pay attention to it, still urging Bai Lian, "Hurry up and register." Bai Lian slapped her phone back onto the desk with a snap and glanced at Tang Ming indifferently, softly uttering two words, "Shut up." Tang Ming silently closed his mouth and turned around. Inside the lecture hall, someone hesitated for a long time, then stood up to find Bai Lian. "Bai Lian, could I borrow your answers to look at overnight?" After speaking, the boy also felt somewhat embarrassed. He had just been in line to see Ren Wongshuan's app, sitting on Ren Wongshuan's side. Enning Zio was known in the school as a lone wolf, and he only dared to approach Bai Lian, holding onto a faint hope that Bai Lian would show him her previous analysis. Bai Lian didn't look up, simply pinching the analysis on the desk between her index finger and thumb, handing it over to him with an even tone. "Here you go, no need to return it." The boy was stunned. He thought that Bai Lian would at least mock him a few times, or give him a few small answers like Ren Wongshuan did. He hadn't expected her to say nothing. "What's the matter?" Seeing that he still wasn't taking it, Bai Lian finally looked up slightly, her pair of jet-black eyes narrowing lightly as she sized him up. Her gaze was not one of superiority like Ren Wongshuan's from on high. It was a calm assessment, as if he were a soldier under her command who had made a mistake and was now being forgiven and indulged by her. The boy snapped back to reality, feeling ashamed for his previous baseless speculations. "Nothing, thank you." Ma Chem, study hard. Bai Lian withdrew her gaze and methodically started to pack her things. The remaining students who wanted to ask, but couldn't bring themselves to do so, didn't expect Bai Lian to give away the answers so readily, and could only enviously watch the boy. The feelings in their hearts were indescribable. Tang Ming also began to pack up, and decided to check his phone to see who had messaged him. Once he entered WeChat, he saw Bai Lian's forwarded message. "Sis," he turned to look at Bai Lian, "why did you forward this to me?" He thought Bai Lian had slipped. Bai Lian zipped up her bag, lowered her voice and casually said, "I registered for you." "What?" Tang Ming didn't catch on. He thought he had heard wrong. "Keep your voice down." Bai Lian stood up, one hand pressing down on her backpack, the other holding her phone, her face slightly turned away, her voice again lowered. "I said I'm giving this spot to you. Let's go outside and talk. The app spot for Jiangjing University is for me." Tang Ming was 80% astonished and 20% pretending. "You're saying you're giving me the spot for the Jiangjing University Preparation Camp app? You're really giving me the spot for the Jiangjing University Preparation Camp app?" Bai Lian. Not only did Tang Ming's voice not quiet down, he even repeated it 3 times. Now everyone in the lecture hall, including those sitting at the back, heard it loud and clear. Even Chen Zhu, who was sitting in his original place, lost in thought, heard it. His fingers trembled, and he abruptly lifted his head to look in Tang Ming's direction. Enning Xiao had also packed his things, listening to Tang Ming's calls. When he turned around, he indeed saw Bai Lian's cold expression on his pale face, his eyes dangerously narrowed. Even without speaking, Bai Lian made Enning Xiao feel a chill. The usual laziness was gone. Enning Xiao grabbed Tang Ming's backpack strap, his gloomy eyes revealing a trace of light through his dark bangs. He spoke calmly, "I'm giving you a spot, so what are you yelling about? Get out first." He was very serious, and his voice was very loud. Tang Ming let out an "oh" and toned down his voice. Bai Lian's slender fingers gripped his backpack properly before withdrawing his gaze and heading for the door with a somewhat nonchalant attitude. The two followed him out. Everyone in the lecture hall watched the 3 of them leave, and only after they were out of sight did they exchange glances. "What did Tang Ming just say?" someone asked, as if it were fantasy. It seemed like he said Bai Lian was going to give up his spot for him. With the Chen family's wide experience and knowledge, Chen Zhu also couldn't suppress his shock. Everyone in Xiancheng, even those from the 4 major cities, strove for a spot at Jiangjing University. Even at Baikeng High School, there were only 10 spots controlled by Jiangjing University. Such a spot couldn't be found even on the app's auction site. It was priceless. Both the Ren family and the Chen family treasured it, not to mention others. Was Bai Lian really going to give his spot to Tang Ming? "It's not that hard to understand," someone in the lecture hall suddenly spoke up, Inning Zio and Tang Ming have such high scores, probably because Bai Lian shared all the answers with them, especially since Inning Zio is first. Inning Zio often competed with Chen Zhu for the top 2 spots in the whole school, and this time, even with the help of a Jiangjing University PhD, Chen Zhu's scores were still lower than Inning Zio's, which could only mean there was a mastermind behind the scenes. This variable was because of who? Aside from Bai Lian, he couldn't think of anyone else. Aren't those 3 in a competitive relationship? Before, they had envied Ren Wangxuan's 2 team members. But now, compared to Tang Ming and Inning Zio, those 2 team members didn't seem enviable at all. Competing for what? Didn't you see? Bai Lian is even going to transfer the app to Tang Ming. The new student is really too good to his groupmates. If only I had been randomly chosen. At this point, most of them couldn't help but look at Zhu Jiren, who used to sit behind Ren Wangxuan. They remembered Zhu Jiren was also in Bai Lian's group. Zhu Jiren hadn't looked up once since hearing Inning Zio and Tang Ming's scores. She had come to a realization. Inning Zio hadn't been going to assist Bai Lian with poverty alleviation every evening. Bai Lian had the answers, even clearer than Ren Wangxuan's. Why hadn't she mentioned it before? If she had spoken up, she wouldn't have made up an excuse to go back to the dorm. The assignments and those assignments. Zhu Jiren pulled up Tang Ming's WeChat, which she had only added. What exactly was the assignment Bai Lian gave us before? Tang Ming didn't say a word, just sent over 2 pictures. The pictures showed Bai Lian's handwritten assignments and analyses. Zhu Jiren had never paid attention to the assignments Bai Lian had sent before, throwing them away without a second glance. Today was the first time she seriously looked at the questions and analyses. After looking through them, she was unable to regain her composure for a long time. Only then did she finally understand what she had missed. Outside. By the 10th time Tang Ming asked Bai Lian, she finally spoke up. If you say one more word, I'll immediately transfer it to Zhang Shai's. Tang Ming. He fluidly downloaded the app, registered an account, then searched for Inning Zio's account and followed it. He was just about to ask Bai Lian when he couldn't find hers, but saw that Bai Lian had already entered a milk tea shop. He silently held back. At the Ren family. Mealtime. Ren Kian had just returned from outside, handing a gift box to a servant. Glancing around, he did not see Ren Wangxuan. Where's Xuanxuan? The servants exchanged looks. Ren Wangxuan had been gloomy since her return, and had locked herself upstairs without coming down for dinner. No one dared to call her. Ren Kian was surprised. He knew today was the day spots were distributed, and he had even brought a gift back for Ren Wangxuan. He went upstairs and knocked on Ren Wangxuan's door. There was no response, so he had someone fetch the key from the storage room to unlock the door. Ren Wangxuan hadn't turned on the light, and the curtains were tightly drawn. Ren Kian, surprised, had the servant hand her the gift box while he turned on the room's light. What's wrong? Seeing Ren Wangxuan still in her school uniform lying on the bed, Ren Kian held the gift box and gently began. Your grandfather also bought you a gift. Open it and see. It's what you've always liked. I don't want it. Ren Kian, concerned, looked at Ren Wangxuan and gestured for the servant to leave. Xuanxuan, tell your grandfather, who bullied you. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the video and comment down if anything wrong in the story, and if have any suggestion to a new novel or want next part of any series, comment down. Our target is to get 1K subscriber. There will be SUPRISC for all of you. Stay tuned.